So I'm going to hand over to Sarah, who is one of our wonderful Syntropic community members based in Tanzania. And we have got a few people from Tanzania on the call today. Aren't we lucky? So Sarah, you have the floor.
Thank you. I think it's quite a hard act to follow, Jonathan. Thank you so much for your sharing. And I remember someone said to me when I started my environmental activism that it's an ultra marathon and not a 100-meter sprint. And I think you really epitomize that in the work that you've done over all these years and just continued hope. So thank you very much. And I just want to honor Christina as well for this opportunity to speak to you all today. And the Syntropic journey over the last 9 months has been incredible. I'm doing the masterclass for the third time, just as we begin to integrate Syntropy and the Syntropic practice into the enterprises that we are creating here in Tanzania. So before I start, I would love you all just to close your eyes for a moment. And I would like to start by honoring Mother Nature, who is a wise and patient teacher. She has the most extraordinary ability to heal herself and the planet. Through understanding her wisdom and her cycles, the seasons, the ebbs and flows of the tides, reciprocity and our responsibility to live in harmony with nature, we are all reminded of all that we are and all that we can be, if we only listen and act accordingly. Thank you. So it's a time like this when we think of humanity right now, it's not just about our own journey, but it's the journey of the entire human race. And it actually is a race, and it's a race for our survival. So I'm going to start today with a personal story of what led me to do the work that's doing. And it was initially a journey inward. It was a deep and necessary journey where I had to confront my shadows and my darkness. But what I found when I journeyed inward was a really expansive, endless deposit of love. And it's a love for humanity and a love for this planet. And this love that really drives the work that I do and my relationships with people and the planet. And I also realized that I had enough love to last a lifetime and enough love to share. And in that sharing, real transformation has begun to happen. So in 2016, I gave up my career in marketing. I had a film and events company. And I decided to commit my voice to Mother Nature. I heard her call and really commit myself to social and environmental impact, and really where I was interested in where these two intersect. And it's been a wild ride ever since. And I just want to read a quote. We know that it does not take every earth to bring about justice and peace. Only a small determined group who will not give up during the first, second, or 100th gale. And so I ask you all today, what are you doing? What can you do? What big or small things can ensure a bright and just and beautiful future that we all know is possible? So I began my environmental activism on the shores of Dar es Salaam. I moved on to a beachfront property, and the nickname of this beach was Mavi Beach, which basically in Kiswahili literally means shit beach. It was filled with waste. And I approached a local environmental organization called Nipa Fagio, and Tanya's here on this call. And I said to them, I wanted to become a brand ambassador to keep this beach clean. And so over the course of the time that I lived on this beachfront, I organized monthly beach cleanups. And maybe that doesn't change the systemic problem of waste, but what it does is it transforms you from the inside out, that you realize that that little bit that you can do can affect your community, activate others to act alongside of you. So that action was basically a catalyst that led me into what I like to call to greater heights, to the foothills of Kilimanjaro. In 2017, I started the Kilimanjaro Project, and it was an environmental and social impact initiative. Initially, it was an awareness campaign and a crazy art installation that we wanted to do in Kilimanjaro to raise awareness for climate change. But very soon I realized that we didn't need more climate awareness. What we needed was climate action. So instead of wrapping the mountain with kanga fabric, which was our installation idea, we decided to wrap it with trees. So now we're 113 trees in to hopefully what will be millions of tree restoration project. But this project has really humbled me, and I'm very different from the person I was 4 years ago when I started this project. I started with 2 pillars, and I called them back then my flak jackets. I don't normally anymore talk in combative language, but back then I did. And my 2 pillars were, it's not personal. Not everyone's going to get what I'm doing, but I need to do it. I need to follow that inner voice that's guiding me to what I'm doing. And secondly, to keep flowing, to be like water. When you reach obstacles, to find your way around or through them. But whatever you do, to keep moving. So I have to admit, when I started the project, I thought I would raise millions overnight. I thought it's Kilimanjaro, everyone knows it, it's trees. I made a lot of noise, and I raced ahead and I left many behind. And I'm reminded of the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And so before I got any millions or get the millions, I really had to be humbled. I had to learn a new rhythm, and that's the rhythm of nature. And it was to really slow down. And in this last year, supported by the Syntropic community of practice and our various institutions and organizations that we're working with, it's really become what our slogan used to be, which is in Kiswahili, Tuje Pamoja, let us come together. We've now pivoted our slogan, and it's Kijani Pamoja, which means green together. And through the Syntropic process, being able to build out these teams that take personal responsibility for what they do. So I'll briefly launch into our 3 focus areas. We have the Kilimanjaro project, which is actually an initiative now plugged in under Kijani Pamoja, a registered NGO here in Tanzania. And the Kilimanjaro's focus, we did a lot of different experimentation in the first couple of years with 113,000 trees, planting in river reserves, private land, schools. And through that journey, it led us to a partnership with GIZ, the German Development Corporation. And what we're looking at now is doing river reserve restoration on all the rivers that flow from Mount Meru and Mount Kilimanjaro into the Pangani River Basin. This is a water stewardship program, but the need for restoration within the water reserves, the river reserves, to protect the soil from erosion and also to raise the water tables that affects the lives of more than 5 million people living downstream in the Pangani Basin. That journey led us even now to the Usambara Mountains, which are part of the Eastern Arc Mountains, and now even further afield to Udzungwa. We're putting together a consortium of tree growing initiatives under this campaign umbrella of Kijani Pamoja. And our current project is 70 million trees, 10 million tons of carbon in 3 key hotspots in Tanzania. And this is not done just alone. We have our consortium of partners that will help make this happen. And this is what I've really learned in this journey, is that it's really grassroots action is needed. Local capacity building, local leadership is where the deep systems change will take place. And it's really where the action is needed. That will also then drive and inform policy. I'm not saying that we don't need policy reform. There's people that work with that. But what we are needed is hundreds and thousands of people knowing how to restore degraded lands. So that also leads me into our youth campaign. We have a youth campaign called Kijani Pamoja, which we will launch this year. We were honored to be elected as one of the World Economic Forum 1 trillion tree cohort members of 2020, 2021. And what that really allowed us to do is really become a part of the global voice for trees and restoration work, and given us a seat at the table. We were chosen as one of 20 organizations of, I think, more than 250 applicants globally. So it's also been an honor to be able to challenge the system. Talks about the Great Reset. What does that actually mean? What does that look like? And how can we unlock some of these resources that are stuck in the global north and allow them to flow to the much needed global south? So our youth organization is kicking off this year, our youth movement in 50 schools in Dar es Salaam. We'll be growing dense mini forests within schools, and then hopefully be able to roll that out across the country. And it's just amazing to see the young volunteers that we have on board, committing their time, their passion to the environment. It's truly extraordinary. Yeah, and then finally, I'll end with this. What I realized, this was early last year, or it had been brewing for a while, that our work really needed to be more rooted and grounded in science. And I was in Switzerland just before Corona last year, kind of hit the travel bans, and I met with the president of the Swiss Academy of Arts and Sciences. And it was more, we were talking more on tree things, all things trees. But when I got back to Tanzania, I just wrote to him and I said, I really see that we need a space for a green innovation hub. And there's land here in Arusha that I have seen and been kind of walking on for the last 4 years. And I painted a picture of what I saw in this green innovation hub. And he just jumped right on board and he's like, okay, Sarah, let's go. And we've been on a 9-month journey. And just this week, we have signed a partnership agreement with the Swiss Academy of Arts and Sciences and the Wyss Center for Nature under the University of Bern. And basically what we're creating here is a demonstration hub. The models are out there, but what is needed now is to show them and demonstrate that they actually work. So we'll bring together science. I kind of see a space where science meets application, where scientists are hanging out with, and then musicians are writing music that educates and inform people, and a real melting pot. Because I think what some of the struggles have been is that there's not been a lack of vertical integration in various sectors, and to bring those together, let's talk about innovative technology for food systems, agriculture, and nature-based solutions where people can come and learn and retreat and cross-pollinate and then go out back into their communities and drive the much-needed change that our world needs to see. And I think I'd love to end on the quotes again by Bucky Fuller, who said, we cannot change old systems. What is needed is new systems and new models that demonstrate that, that make the old ones obsolete. And that's what we hope to do, to embrace the complexity of our time and be able to come up with sustaining solutions for our future. Thank you.